How about now? Is that working now? Working now? Nothing like silently talking, right? How about now? Is it working? I feel like it should be working. I can move this over here, right? That's partially why I set this up this way. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, sorry about that. I had no idea. I normally over at my drafting table, which is that way, and they I haven't used the computer setup in a while to broadcast from, so I think I must have turned off the audio or did some little change a long time ago. Because yeah, but thank you for saying something. Yeah, so I was saying it's before I was doing a bunch of acrylic stuff studies kind of in the morning to get some better proficiency with that. And um, but so I was, I most want to focus on doing like portfolio pieces, which I'm going to do some more of those, and that's not really what I call the morning study material. Is what I do. Try to have like an hour or two in the morning where I'm focusing on that. Indonesia, is that what you're saying? Selamat pagi. I live in Richmond, Virginia, United States. So it's about 2 hours south of Washington, D.C. It's the capital of the state. So that's where I live. I teach at a university here. We are on summer break. And you don't speak English, I see. Um, yeah, I just know how to say a couple of things in Indonesian. Uh, I do speak Igabarupa Ruski, Galamashnaket Getuvishke, Dohai Sikong Guangdonghua Shusua. That's all the ones I know. So I had students from Indonesia when I lived in Hong Kong. So I learned a few things from them. This is a horned toad. So it's a lizard from the American Southwest. They shoot blood out of their eyes. It's kind of a little thing about them, I guess. So they're pretty common out there, running around. Anyway, I'm trying to get back to the regular streaming in the morning, probably in my evenings, which would be your morning, working on a comic book project. Let's see, this corner goes down. Here. I'm used to, well, it's been a while, but I'm more kind of used to sculpting in ZBrush. There we go. Actually, both of those are down. Let's see. Ah, good morning. Ah, you're on. You on two places? Yeah, someone pointed out to me that I was. Well, if that's you, the same person, then. Apparently, I was doing this all silent on the computer side for the morning, which is not what I wanted to do. Anyway, I haven't done a lot of digital sculpting in a long time, so I thought that would be good. Do I create 3D models for sale? No. I haven't. I did get an offer to do that once a long, long time ago, in terms of like selling on a marketplace or whatever. But no. Um, I made this very detailed rhinoceros in ZBrush a long, long time ago, and some people saw it, they're like, "Hey, you should put that on our thing." I never got around to it. My main profession is I teach at a university. I teach art, and I love doing that. And then I have a teaching website where I teach drawing and perspective. At the moment, I want to add figure drawing in there and some other things. So, no, I guess is the short answer. Do you sell 3D models? So move that back over here. Where? Where am I? I live in Richmond, Virginia, in the United States. So it's about 2 hours south of Washington, D.C. If you don't know where that's at, that might help. So that's where I'm at. So it is 8:15 in the morning. And I'm trying to just get the proportions and the form here right. Then we can start thinking about detailing that on here. I do need to look at kind of taking, what's it called, shrink wrapping in Blender. There's a way of like transferring detail to a model that has better topology in ZBrush, where you kind of, it's called, I think it's projection is what they call it there. It's been a while. And anyway, there's a way of doing it in Blender. I have to look it up and see how to do it. Thing with any kind of art thing is once you kind of understand the principle of something, it's it's not necessarily the easiest thing in the world, but it becomes applicable. I see. That's all right. Take your time. Once you kind of understand an artistic principle, um, once you kind of understand the principle, though, you're asking yourself, how do you do this in other places? So, it's like if you're painting with acrylic, if you've got experience painting with wash or oil, you're asking yourself, well, how does this thing I do and this other thing help? I see. So you did come over from Kick. I wish I spoke all languages equally, but I don't. I have some limits. But figure if I come on for about give myself a certain amount of time to work on something, like an hour and a half in the morning, I'll get pretty good at this. So, which it's a skill thing I've wanted to work on for a while. Is like actually getting good with Blender. Like I need to look up. I want to do some more mammal-based things, so I need to look up how to do fur in here. It's not that big of a deal, but it's just something I don't know how to do. Yeah, but yeah, this is the horned lizard. So here's my. I'm using Pure Rough, but this is what the reference I'm using looks like. So it's a lizard from the. I should grab a full body shot too. Horned lizard. Let's see. Open in tab. Save. And let's put those in there too. Let's see. And then, yeah, this is what they look like right here. But they're like about like that big. So, something like that. So yeah, I thought I'd do some more kind of hard-edged critters. So where'd the pure rough thing go? You, where'd it go? Oh, it's in front of me. There it is. Where's the top edge? There it is. Got a few monitors here, so sometimes I get lost. So, but yeah, that's what I'm working on today. If you go back and look, you'll see the acrylic stuff, the other things I've been working on. Hello, over there on YouTube. How are we doing? I always feel like I have to stream for a certain amount of time before people start showing up. Don't scroll back though. Apparently, I was playing without audio, which is really, really funny. So started this yesterday, but I wasn't streaming it. I was like, see how I'm doing with the sculpting here. So you were sleeping? Yeah, it's probably very late. If you're in Indonesia, it's got to be getting to be nighttime there. Wish I'd gone down there. I went. I lived in Asia. I went to Hong Kong. Well, I lived in Hong Kong, but I went to Japan a bunch of times while I was there. Once to Thailand. But I mostly went to Japan locally. I could go school to get out, and I'd catch a plane. Let's see, here. So, but yeah, I wanted to kind of shift gears. I wanted to learn this program a little better, and so I've been doing a bunch of stuff with it. Trying to mostly actually working on material nodes. It's more what I call my morning study. So I like to get up first thing in the morning. It's so it's 8:30 here. I've been up actually since around 4:45 is when I woke up. I wake up pretty early. I've been going to bed earlier too, like 9ish. But so yeah, I like to be learning new things, and so if you go back and look at relatively recent streams, I was doing a bunch of acrylic stuff, and that was kind of a new-ish medium to me. It was a medium I dropped after graduating from my undergrad program, and when I shifted to oil painting, and I had to use it for teaching a class last fall, and So I kind of reinvested in learning it and found that, oh yeah, it's not too bad. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's not the best, but it's not like the. I didn't like it as a student. You know, it felt weird to work with. But anyway, so I kind of got good at that, and then good enough at that, I guess. And so I was like, well, use that for portfolio piece, but I don't really need to do that as like a morning study per se anymore. And so been thinking about it. I've been wanting to get better into Blender. Yeah, so it's just for practice. Um, and I'm a big believer in kind of expanding your skill set. You know, as a teacher, as a professional. So it's been a while since I've done any kind of detailed sculpting. I've used ZBrush a lot in the past, and with their shift to the subscription model, I actually get it. I can get the program for free. It's like Adobe. I get Adobe, all the Adobe stuff for free as a teacher. But I've kind of stopped using Adobe. I don't like their business practices. I don't like their shift to AI being their main focus for their development, which is I don't like at all. And so I'm looking a lot at kind of alt tech, and I think it's good to like explore that, especially as a teacher for my students. So I've been using like Affinity, which is free. I've actually paid for version 2. And Affinity is like a combination of 3 Adobe programs: Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign. And they had a paid version, and then they got bought by Canva, which is, of course, is a big AI company. They make Canva. And anyway, they bought them, and then they want you to get a Canva subscription. So they're giving away Affinity for free. And it's a really good program. Like it does almost everything Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign do. I think there's a few exceptions. I think it's like a blend shapes thing. It doesn't quite do a few other things. And then there's so that's what they want. And I'd be happy to pay for the program, which I did in version 2. But they don't want my money that way. They want me invested in AI, and I just don't want to do that. So I use it for free. Yeah, but so yeah, morning study has always been like an important thing for me. It's like a way to like kind of keep up with stuff. Um, um, yeah, so I've also been shifting to doing more analog media. So, but I like exploring new tech, new media, like this stuff right here. So, Blender's kind of been on my mind for a while as a tool, and so I've been working on a bunch of stuff in the background trying to get good. I got reference, so right here. This is Pure Ref. It's a great little program where you can shove your pictures and keep them organized. And it's free, though it's a good idea to donate to the people that make it. There's actually a version on the iPad. It's made by somebody else. It's not as feature rich, but Yes, this is a horned toad. So I don't know where you're from. I live in the United States. This is a lizard from the American Southwest. It's like Arizona, New Mexico, maybe a little bit further north too, but down there especially. Probably down in Mexico too. But they interesting little lizard. They actually shoot blood out of their eyes as a defense mechanism. So if they're being attacked by an animal, they'll squirt blood out. So yeah, I wanted to do some animal buffs. I thought that would be a good way of practicing my sculpts. Eventually get into some people sculpting. I've done animal stuff before, like in ZBrush a long time ago. I did a pretty good rhino, I think. It's been a while, and so yeah, definitely use reference. It's always a good idea to have plenty of reference around. But the idea here is that the morning says come on for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Very focused time, trying to get some practice in on something. And I found if I just kind of do that every single day, eventually get some skills at that thing that I'm working on. And allows me to kind of do that while also getting my other projects and things done, my other work knocked out. And where can I see my masterpiece? Well, it's in ZBrush. Let me see if I can find. Actually, no, it's probably on my website. Huh? Pull that up. Let's see. I don't know if it's a masterpiece. It was just one I did a long time ago. So here's my website. 3D. Let's see. ZBrush. These are all 3D stuff I've done on here. There's my rhino. And I tried it in octopus too. That I liked a long time ago. There's the rhino. This I did this back in like 2014. I think it was. No, 2016. And here's these are all done in ZBrush. This is like a hard surface. There's some errors in here, but thought I'd try some hard surface stuff. These go pretty far back. This is done in on the iPad in Nomad Sculpt. And then same with this one. This is also a Nomad Sculpt, which actually is on the computer now, which I bought it a while ago. So this is a alien thing I was working on. I never quite finished it, but it was a little broken in the tummy. So, and these are some Blender explorations up here. I was using a set of things called Quick Tools. This is grease pencil. But I kind of, one of the things I didn't like about it was basically they, it's like kind of overlays a lot of the tools in Blender as shortcuts for like, you know, putting down geometry or textures and other things. And there's good things to that. But the guy who was making it, he went like full AI bro on us. Like, in fact, he's released a new set of tools where it'll like generate 3D models and stuff like that inside of the program. I think it's for Unreal. I think I don't remember exactly. And it's just kind of sad to watch. And so there's that. And then the other thing I didn't like about it was basically I didn't understand how the tools are actually working, and that always kind of bothers me in the background of my brain that I don't understand what's going on. And so I've removed it off of here, and it was actually getting in the way of using the remeshing tool here. So hit R, you can do this remeshing thing, and it wasn't working properly because it was tied to that app, and so I had to turn it off anyway so I could use this. Let's go ahead and make these eyes smooth. Let's see, shade. So there we go. But yeah, so anyway, there's a number of things in here that I wanted to get better at. So I thought, hey, maybe if I dedicate a little time in the morning to Blender, maybe I'll actually get good at that. So, um, yeah, so it's something I've wanted to develop for a while, and I figure if I spent, the next little while on this, I might get good at it. So I'll do a bunch of animals and then maybe some human busts and hands and things like that. So, yeah. I've shifted doing more kind of traditional media stuff, so I have a big drafting table on my right side. Actually, got it really cheap on Facebook Marketplace. I definitely recommend. It's really the only page I keep open on Facebook. I don't keep the main page open because it's unreadable. Um, yeah, it's probably stay for another 20 minutes, and then that'll polish off this. So I might be back this evening. I'm working on a comic book project and inking some stuff for that, for coloring stuff. So I'm working on a pitch project to send out. Um, yeah, so I'll be on for like another 20 minutes, and then I'll head out, get to my other activities of the day. Make these guys move just like a lizard does, right? Like little jerky movements. I wonder if they get like neck aches moving around like that, jerking their heads around. Yeah, horned toads are cool. You should look them up if you're not familiar with them on YouTube or something. Yeah. You'll need a lot more geometry. Let's see how it handles it, because I know one of the good things about ZBrush is that it's like specially designed for handling large amounts of polygons. It kind of goes into its history a little bit, where it was actually supposed to be just for illustration, creating 2.5D illustration, which is interesting, but it had like a really limited audience of potential. Like I bought it back when it was relatively new, a long time ago, version 1.5, and used it for some, when I was graduating for my senior project, and um, but yeah, so it used to be a very different program, but it was designed specifically for handling large amounts of polygons. And what happened is the idea behind it was you would create a high density model, and then you would drop that model to the canvas, and that would then allow you to add more models and kind of create this illustration in there. That was the intent behind the program, and they only really shifted direction to being more of a proper 3D program when the Lord of the Rings movies were coming out when I was a student in my undergrad program, and he was kind of, the guy who was making was kind of unwilling to shift into being 3D focused. He really wanted this to be a 2.5D program, and then nobody really wanted or needed that. That's like a really small niche. And anyway, Lord of the Rings was going on, and they made a program called Mudbox, which nobody uses anymore. It's like gone. I think it still exists, but nobody really uses it. And anyway, so yeah, the Mudbox came around, and it was like a lot more like working with Photoshop. It was more built to be a 3D program, and not to be an illustration program. So they were shifting to using that. And I think the guy who made ZBrush was like, hey, maybe nobody wants this 2.5D illustration program, and I should make a shift over to being more of a 3D thing. And once they did that, it kind of killed off Mudbox, and gave us what we have in ZBrush today. And then eventually, a few years ago, ZBrush was acquired by Maxon and added as a part of their subscription, and so there really hasn't been significant updates to it since then, which I think we see a lot of these companies that go subscription mode. You look at Photoshop or the Adobe stuff, and their only thing that they're focusing on right now is the AI stuff, and that's just not a road I want to go down. So, but Maxon's also pushing into the AI area too, of course. It's just not something that I want to deal with. And the same thing going on with Affinity, which I like. They're owned by Canva now, and Canva is all about the AI. And so they're giving away the program for free, which I like. I think it's a really good program. It's kind of a blend of a few different ones that you would see from Adobe, and So we'll see how that goes. They said they're keeping Affinity 3 free forever, so I wouldn't mind paying for a full version of Affinity. I paid for version 2. Yeah, so I understand why a lot of these companies are doing it because they believe they're going to get a lot of investor money out of it. Adobe's lost a lot of their value over the last while. They're back up recently. I think people kind of figured out that AI really isn't going to replace software. It was kind of stupid to think it was going to do that. I think Adobe's been hit harder by the existence of Canva though, because I know a lot of people use it for graphic design, like basic graphic design. You need to do the high-end stuff, that's really what you need Adobe for, but Canva, like by itself, I'm not talking about Affinity, is kind of fine for a lot of people that are making like posters or coupons or handouts or kind of a lot of the basic graphic design like a small business would need. But it's more on the back. But yeah, but their stock value, Adobe stock value used to be like $670 a share. Now it's like two something. It was down to like 196 for a little bit. A lot of their users are really annoyed with them because of the direction they're taking, and I think we got some good refinement. If you scroll back to the beginning, it's looking much better. It doesn't like, the actual lizard would be like this small on my screen, but it feels a lot better. It's always good to like study real things. Like I wouldn't mind doing this with actual real clay, but I wanted to get better at Blender, so I thought we would spend some time here doing this. So I think we're off on the lighting, all right. But so yeah, so I'm definitely paying attention to a lot of the shifts going on. It's kind of led me to wanting to use more alt tech, and also just because I think a lot of my students, they're going to get out of school, and they may not, they'll lose access to, if they're not working at a studio, they'll lose access to a lot of this stuff, that's like Adobe or Maxon software, etc. And I like to point out that the main thing with a lot of this stuff is it's not so much the software, it's the principles behind it that are important. So whether they're using, Procreate or Clip Studio or, whatever it is that they're using, it's not so much the software. I mean, there are certain software things that are very specific, but there's the principles, that matter, not the software or the tool. And I think it's important to kind of factor that in, that you shouldn't say, oh well, I do this in Photoshop and therefore I can't do it anywhere else. And I think that's a bad way of approaching your skills in your art development. So I think I like to put kind of art skills into like the three, or development into like three main categories. So one is foundation, and that's kind of universal, like sculpting here, like thinking about the form and how things interweave with each other, and the structure and the perspective of things. Those are called principles, and they're applicable across different media, whether you're painting, or you're drawing, or sculpting, or the light touch. That's a principle that you apply. And so principles is like the foundations are really important, and you should look at them as something where it's not so much isolated to a medium, but allows you to take your work into different areas. And then the second area is expression, and that's where your media lies, where your personal development, your background, like who you are, your spiritual beliefs, your culture, the food you like, your philosophy, your morals, whatever that those different categories of of things that all kind of factor into the work that you make. So if you're using acrylic and you're using, or oils, there's different properties to those materials that you may be applying the foundational elements to, but they're related to your expression, right? Because the medium is the message, as they say, where you're making a film or 3D animation or 2D animation or whatever, sketch. All those things are kind of related to that expression and the choices you make with the media. So you've got foundations, you've got expression, again, which is who you are, your character, and the mediums that you're using. And then the third one is presentation, and that's how you put your work out into the world. And this is the area where I think a lot of artists, we tend to fail at that. Because we tend to see that as being a negative, having to bother with presenting ourselves. Or we kind of assume that because we've worked hard, because we feel strongly about our work, that other people will share that experience. And that's it's just not how things work. And so a presentation involves like the way that you put your work out there, which often also translates into things like marketing, right? So how you organize your website, or you put together an email list, or your social media, the context you put things out there in. All of that's kind of related to that. And so I think kind of organizing your thoughts that way with your work is, kind of it brings it to completion, because typically if you're an artist, you want to put your work out there in some manner that's meaningful, that allows you to keep making more work and helps you find the right kind of audience for that work. Um, so that's what I think. I don't know if other people have thoughts on that, but don't forget to save, right? Just in case something crashes. Save early, save often, as they say. But I think that's a good progress. I think if we were to scroll back. I feel like that's some good progress for this morning. So I think that's what I'm going to work on for the next bit is spending an hour and a half or so in the morning working on these sculpts. So yeah, that's what we got going on. Wow. So that's kind of what we have happening there. Definitely feels more like one of those lizards. That feels good. Getting back to this morning study publicly. So I'll definitely be back in the morning to do some more. I don't know exactly what time. I was up early. Again, I got up pretty early, but I need to mow the lawn, so I did that this morning first. And I think next time we'll check. So I'm mostly just trying to fix the proportions and the layout and the folds and the major kind of elements here. Neck probably definitely needs some work there, but the proportions definitely feel better on here than when I started this morning. But I think if I were to do a bunch of these, then that would be so let's put a horn right there. Oh, snake. There we go. You know, we've got different species of this lizard, so it's a little bit of a blend of different ones. Let's see. So, yeah. All right, 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. So I'm going to pause it here and come back to this. I'll probably be back in the evening to work on the comic project I'm working on, and back in the morning for more of this. So that's kind of the plan here. So appreciate everybody that came in and conversed, and we'll talk to you all later.